Welcome to What a Creep, the show with Margot Donohue and Sonia Mansfield, talking about creeps from the past to the present.
This is your quick guide to the biggest creeps, jerks, assholes, and losers, the best of the worst.
From two nice ladies who want the world to be a little less creepy.
Welcome back to What a Creep. This is Margot Donohue, and my cohort in creepitude, as always, is the amazing Sonia Mansfield. Hey, Sonia.
Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend. We are the podcast that talks about creeps from the past to the present. Today we have, it's like ding, 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 hot news. It just happened this week. Hot news. We are going to be talking about French actor Gerard Depardieu. Yes. We're going to be talking about him today. But if this is your first time listening to the show, just so you know, we always end the show with somebody who is not a creep. So at the end of the show, I've got some French women who are not creeps, Sonia.
Yay!
We'll be talking about them. But we're always looking for suggestions for creeps and non-creeps. So let's just go through the social media rigmarole. We have a basic Facebook page. That's where people go to complain about our language. We use salty language in this program because we're talking about creeps and we're adults. This is just how it goes.
That's right. Shit, fuck, damn.
We are much more interactive in our private Facebook group. You type in What a Creep podcast group and ask to join. And please, we just ask that you don't be an asshole and you could just hang out there. We talk about pop culture, news, things that are happening, ideas for episodes, that kind of thing. If you act like an asshole, we'll just kick you out. It's just not worth it. So
it doesn't seem like it's that much to ask, but sometimes it is.
But those of you that behave there, we love you.
We love you. I love the group.
We are on Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky at What a Creep Podcast. And we have an old-timey email, whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. Great place to send us your suggestions for creeps and non-creeps, and also for and I've known this for like 2 months. People have been requesting stickers, and I was very, very sick. And then this week we had just horrible weather. I couldn't get outside, like hail was happening where I am. So,
oh, damn.
Yeah. So, but I am going to get to it next week. So email me your address if you would like some stickers from What a Creep Stickers. Sonia, do you want to tell them about the website?
Yeah, go to whatacreeppodcast.com and it's everything you want to know about the show, but we're afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. But if you are, there's lots of information there. You can go there and see all of our past episodes, and you can open the little blog posts and you could see our show notes because we source everything we do. We want to give people credit for the work they do. So if you're looking for a deeper dive, fabulous place to start. We also have a link to our merch shop where I want to add a new design for Creepin' It Real. So thank you to our listener who gave me that little tagline. But you could go there and get t-shirts and tote bags and face masks and whatever rando things you want. You can get a pillow if you want. Get a pillow and take a nap, whatever you want. And there's a link to our Patreon. You want to tell them about that, Margot?
Yes, Patreon. We're on season 25, 26?
29.
29. Holy crap. We're in season 29. Our first 9 seasons are on our Patreon wall. So if you sign up for Patreon, you pay a monthly fee, you get to access that. Plus, Sonia and I put out 2 bonus episodes a month. And in those bonus episodes, we talk about creepy news and pop culture and all kinds of things like that. We video it. We have an audio and a video version so you can see our pusses. And because we missed a week in April, we're doing 3 of them in May. So, and I want to thank Teresa, Marie, and Jack, who are the latest people who signed up for Patreon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
It helps us pay for all these sources that we use. We like to pay the journalists for their work. So thanks for that.
Yes. So I think I got through everything.
Okay.
So are you ready to talk about our creep today?
Yeah, let's do it. Fine. Trigger warnings, y'all. Sexual assault, a lot of it, and sexual harassment. We're going to talk about Gerard Depardieu. He's a huge star in France.
We're from France.
He's from France. And he has been for decades. He has appeared in more than 250 films. I first saw him in the movie Green Card with
That's the
Andie
only one I know
MacDowell.
him from. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I had a weird
Um,
fascination with that movie. Like, I've seen it a dozen times if I've seen it once. I mean,
Yeah. I remember seeing it and liking it
Yeah.
actually, but I maybe I haven't seen it since the theater, but that's where I knew him from. And then he's also in one of my favorites, Last Holiday with Queen Latifah,
Oh,
that I
right,
watch
right.
every year around the holidays because it's so great. Other people might know him from My Father the Hero, a problematic AF movie in which his 14-year-old daughter, who I believe is Katherine Heigl,
It's
in
Heigl.
the yeah, yeah, pretends that her father is her lover so she can impress a boy. It's real gross.
And she wears a thong bikini or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah, it's super gross. But just this week, we've been hearing rumors about this guy for years. Yeah. But just this week, 76-year-old actor was convicted of sexually assaulting 2 women on the set of a movie called The Green Shutters in 2021. Never seen it. One was a set decorator, another was an assistant. He received an 18-month suspended prison sentence, so he's not going to serve any time for it. He has to pay them a total of about $32,000 in fines, and he has to register in the National Sex Offender Database. So that's something, I guess.
Mhm.
But anyway, this was long overdue. He's been a creep for years. He's been accused publicly for misconduct for more than 20 women. And this is the first one to ever go to a trial. A lot of them are dropped for lack of evidence or expired statute of limitations. This stuff is very hard to make happen in France. They have very tough laws about this sort of thing. So, sources for the episode: Associated Press, Euronews, The Guardian, The Hollywood Reporter, The New York Times, Time Magazine, Vanity Fair, and of course, our good friends at Wikipedia.
Absolutely.
So, I've given you a little intro. We're going to get into it, and we're going to start like we always Depardieu at the beginning.
I see what you did there. Clever. Clever girl there.
I'm not going to whip out my bad French accents for anybody if you're wondering, but I might do a shitty French laugh. So consider that a trigger warning if that's your thing.
You could do a Jerry Lewis laugh. Hey, ladies!
Hey, ladies! Oh, Gerard Xavier Marcel Depardieu was born December 27th, 1948 in Châteauroux, France. He is one of 5 children. His mother, Anne, was a stay-at-home mom. His dad, René, was a metal worker and a volunteer fireman. They, again, 5 kids. They lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. They were constantly having money problems. The apartment obviously overcrowded. Barely able to read. He also had a stutter. He dropped out of school at 13. He got a job working
Au
as
revoir,
Au revoir.
l'école. My shitty French is going to come through every once in a while.
He got a job at like a print shop for a little while. He got into boxing, and was taking bets and things like that to try to make money. And then he also started stealing, and he was like smuggling all kinds of things like cigarettes and alcohol onto like a nearby army base where he was like selling things to the Americans stationed there. That eventually landed him in their version of juvenile hall, and he got probation, things like that. At some point, he tagged along with a friend who was going to an acting class, and surprise, he really liked it. He auditioned for theater school. He got admitted to a fancy acting school in Paris called the Conservatoire Art Dramatique.
Nice.
Sure. I can't, y'all. I can't. He started acting in the 60s and 70s, and he got like really wide recognition pretty fast. He did a movie called Going Places in 1974, and from there, his career really took off. He's been nominated for multiple like Caesar Awards. He's been nominated at the Cannes Film Festival. multiple times. In particular, he did Cyrano de Bergerac in 1990, which he won the Best Actor award at the Cannes Film Festival, and he was nominated for an Academy Award here,
Oh,
which then we start getting like Green Card, and then he wins a Golden Globe for that. And
he won the Golden Globe for that?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I'm going to assume they put that in the comedy category.
Yeah, it is comedy. I mean, and he is good. I mean, it's just a weird movie. That's all. I have a weird fascination with it.
It's a very strange movie, and we should probably talk about it on Dorking Out sometime.
Yeah.
Because he's a creep, but it is a fascinating movie. And I don't think it's aged well, but and then he did there was a bunch of movies about Christopher Columbus. He was in one of those. The Ridley Scott one, 1492, Conquest of Paradise. He did
French, Spanish, they're the same.
Yeah, whatever. He did Kenneth Branagh's Hamlet. He was in The Man in the Iron Mask in 98. And he was in Ang Lee's Life of Pi, a movie that made me cry so hard, and I will never go back and watch it again. But he's a huge star in foreign cinema. He is like the second most popular actor in France. The first is someone whose name I didn't recognize, to be honest. A few more, not Jerry Lewis. If you were going to say Jerry Lewis, it's not Jerry Lewis. Before I get into the creepy stuff, a few other things we should note. He was married to actress Elizabeth Gounod, I think is how you pronounce it. That was in like 1970, so they were still pretty young. And they had 2 children together. One of them, Julie Depardieu, is an actress in her own right.
Oh.
And their son, Guillaume, actually had a lot of problems with addiction and illness, and he died.
Oh, no.
He was quite young from pneumonia.
Oh.
It's sad. They were married for about 25 years, and in a typical like stereotype of how we think of the French, like their marriage was never particularly traditional. They separated a few times. They were separated for a long time before they officially got divorced. He admitted he slept around all the time. I'm sure he had to admit it because one of his lovers was this woman named Karina Silla, and she gave birth to a daughter in 92 named Roxanne. When he finally split from Elizabeth in 96, he then dated Carole Bouquet, and she's a French actress, and she was the Bond girl in For Your Eyes Only, which is the Bond movie I probably have seen the most, strangely.
I think it's one of the ones I've seen the least.
It's like it was on TBS all the time or something when I was a kid. Anyway, they split in the early 2000s. In 2006, he had another child with another woman named Helene Bizot. And then for between 2005 and 2023, he was dating a woman named Clementine Hugo. And they broke up, and now he's in a relationship with someone named Magda Verosa.
So he's a serial monogamous that sleeps around a lot?
That sleeps around a lot.
Yeah.
He has various children, and a lot of these relationships overlap. And this doesn't even include all the sexual assaults and harassment. So he's a very busy man.
Yeah.
One more thing, and I know people are going to bring this up. There was this whole thing about in 2011, he was on a plane, and it was said that he got really drunk, and then he peed on the carpet of the plane. Do you remember this story?
No, I don't.
No? Oh my God. I think it came up in the group too. People were like, remember? So there's 2 things going on with this story. So I was like, we're going to tell both sides here. Both sides. The first version of the story is he was drunk. They hadn't even took off yet, and he was already drunk. And he's like, I need to pee. And they were like, too bad. You need to wait because we're getting ready to take off.
To hold it, young man.
Yeah. And he was like, no. And he whips it out and pees on the ground.
Jesus.
That's one version. The other version, because he was traveling with another actor friend, and that version is that he has prostate problems. He really, really had to go. It needed to happen. They told him no. Apparently, he tried to pee in a bottle, and the bottle overflowed.
Oh, God.
And that he was, like, very upset. He was embarrassed, that he was sober. This is not how he behaves. That's what the friend was saying. But there was a whole thing about, like, they had to turn the plane around and clean it up
I'm
and, like, all this
sure.
stuff.
Ugh.
Yeah. So there are 2 versions of that story. I don't know which one is true. So I just thought I would throw it out there as something that is it creepy or not creepy? I can't tell. Like,
Mhm.
if he really does have prostate problems, then I am sorry that that happened. But also, I don't know, man. You gotta, you gotta hold it. But
Yeah, but when you
yeah,
gotta go, you gotta go.
true. His friend and him, his agents, they all issued these statements that he was sober at the time. This was a big deal because he does have a history of kind of drinking to excess. Like, he was in a motorcycle accident in '98. He had an blood alcohol level that was 5 times over the legal limit.
Oh my God.
That's a lot of fucking booze.
Oof.
Like, damn. I'm like, I don't even wanna know. Like, I would never stop throwing up. In 2012, he actually was, like, riding his scooter again in Paris, and he got hit by a car. He had been drinking. Again later that year, he's in another scooter accident. Dude, hire a driver.
Get an Uber.
Yeah,
Flag a
like,
cab. Yeah.
you're rich, man. You're rich.
You're a famous rich guy.
Um,
Yeah.
he had been drinking, but he was not injured, and he didn't injure anyone else.
That's the thing. Like,
Um
injuring other people is what I'm worried about. You're gonna kill somebody.
Yeah, yeah. Exactly, but also, like, all these I think we talked about this in a bonus episode, like Justin Timberlake getting pulled over, and this is gonna ruin the tour and all of that. Like, y'all are rich, man.
Yeah.
Get a driver. Call an Uber, get a cab.
You get a
What are you doing?
driver, sign an NDA, that so they can't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't get it. I'm like, pretty soon we're all gonna have robot cars. You won't even have to get an NDA. You could just take a robot car. I've been taking the robot cars here in SF. They're pretty fucking nifty. So again, he has a shit ton of money. Why he doesn't hire a driver, I don't know. He's doesn't want to pay taxes though. So he threatened to leave France. He was granted a Russian citizenship in 2013, and he received it in real life from Putin himself.
Oh, great.
Yep. He went to Putin's, like, residence on the Black Sea coast and got his Russian citizenship.
So he's a Russian that lives in Paris?
Yes, he also claims at some point that he lives in Belgium because he just doesn't wanna pay taxes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, and he admits that he drinks, like, a ton, by the way. This isn't even, like,
look at him. You could tell.
yeah, he did an interview in 2014. He says he can drink between, like,
2014.
Oh my god, what is wrong with me? 2014. I don't know what I'm doing, y'all. I have not been drinking. I am drinking an Olipop orange soda here. Like, I
Just
swear to
agua
God.
for me.
Yeah. He said in an interview, like, he can drink, like, 12 to 14 bottles of booze a day or something, and, like, champagne, wine, vodka, whiskey, whatever, and he's like, I don't get totally drunk, I'm just a pain in the ass, and I'm like, I think you're totally
I
drunk.
think I think it's both.
I think it's both. Okay, so let's get into some of the creepy stuff, and again, like, y'all take care of yourself because it's pretty gross. He's nasty man. In 1991, Time magazine was doing a profile on him because, Cyrano had come out. He's nominated for an Oscar. He's doing Green Card, et cetera, et cetera. And they are going through all of his old interviews, and they find one from 1978. He did an interview with Film Comment magazine, and he says that he participated in a rape when he was 9 years old. and that he had participated in more after that. And this is the quote: I had plenty of rapes, too many to count. There was nothing wrong with it. The girls wanted to be raped.
Ugh.
I mean, there's no such thing as rape. It's only a matter of a girl putting herself in a situation where she wants to be. This is something Depardieu says that, and when the Time reporter asks him about this, like, do you want to clarify? He says, it was absolutely normal in these circumstances. That was just part of my childhood. That's what he says. Then the story comes out and he's like, no, you're mistranslating what I said. And that he insists that he used the word a sister, which is not translated to participate, but as attend or to be witness to, quote unquote. But they have, Time magazine has stood by their story. They have audio recordings. Like, he could, he's saying whatever he wants to say, but he said these things. Also, if it was mistranslated, it's still pretty fucked up that maybe you witnessed a lot of rapes, like,
Right.
or to say that you attended, like, that is also gross. But Time magazine stands by their story. His American publicist comes out and she's like, she just says, he's sorry, but it happened. That's what she says. And then his French publicist comes out and she's like, the American publicist doesn't speak for him. I speak for him, and we're going to sue any media outlet that says this. So even his publicist couldn't agree on what the true story was. Like, that alone is fucked up. In 1983, an actress named Emmanuelle de Beaver was filming a movie with him called Danton. I haven't seen a lot of these movies, so she claimed that he groped her during filming. There is like there's a documentary that came out in 2018. He went to North Korea, like you do, to celebrate to celebrate some sort of anniversary in North Korea. Dude clearly loves, he
loves a dictator.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a matter of time.
He loves a tyrant.
Yeah, he's going to be here visiting Trump any day now, I'm sure. So there was a documentary that came out in 2018, and it has a lot of footage from when he went to North Korea. He knew cameras were following him around. A TV crew was following him around. He knew he was being filmed. And while he's there, he's making obscene comments to all the women around him. He's sexually harassing his female translator.
Ugh.
He made sexual comments about a child who was riding a horse. Like, it's so gross. And of course, he's like, I did not do that. It's on video, dude. Like, it's bleh. In 2008, a French comedian named Helen Darras, she filmed a movie with him in 2008. It was called Disco. I'm like, I love disco. I would watch a movie about discos. He repeatedly grabbed her ass, was always propositioning her. She was just an extra at the time. So, but now she's more well known. She filed a complaint, but she filed it after the statute of limitations was up. In 2015, he was doing a movie called Big House. Sure. He fondled 3 of the extras. One of them's this is so British. She said, I felt his fingers trying to slip into my knickers.
Oh,
well, so British. Another wardrobe assistant on that movie also said that he sexually harassed her. And when she spoke out about it, they were just like, he's mischievous.
Oh, God.
Just women trying to do their jobs, man. Actress Sarah Brooks, she did a TV series with Gerard Depardieu in 2015. She said that they're all standing around for a cast photo, and he kept trying to like shove his hands into her shorts.
Ew.
She kept pushing him off. She was protesting in front of the crew. The crew didn't say shit. And when she kept pushing him off, and he said to her, "I thought you wanted to succeed in cinema." And then everyone laughed.
Oh, God.
They just like let it happen. It's so.
We're just hung up Americans, Sonia. That's our problem.
Yeah,
We're prudes.
we just don't get it. We're just total prudes. Another actress, Charlotte. This one's tough. Charlotte Arnold. This is 2018. She was a friend. He was a friend of her father's. So she's 22 at the time. She accused him of raping her in his home. He was 70.
Ew.
That case is still active, and it is probably going to go to trial. So that has, and a lot of these are still. There's a few that are just floating around out there that are probably going to go to trial, and I wouldn't be surprised if he flees the country to go somewhere. A journalist and an author named Ruth Baza, she filed a complaint in 2023. She's also saying that he sexually assaulted her in Paris, but that was in 95. Statute of limitations are up. And people are like, why didn't they say anything right away? We've talked about this in past episodes.
And it's also happening this week because Cassie's on trial for the Diddy trial,
Yes.
and it's making me sick to my stomach.
Yes.
Reading threads about it, yeah.
Yeah, you don't understand what these women are going through. You don't understand how scared they were. They're probably waiting till they're at a place in their life where they feel safe enough to come forward.
Mm-hmm.
He was the biggest star in France, and they live in France, and the laws are really, really hard there to prove these sort of things. And if you proceed with your case and it doesn't, especially just like a civil case,
Mm-hmm.
he can sue you.
Right.
So it's really, really scary when it's your word against his. And so,
He's the movie star.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. A former assistant of his also came out last year and said that he groped her. He made obscene remarks to her. She says that like he was abusive. He sexually assaulted her. That one might go to trial as well. The one that he was just convicted for,
Mm-hmm.
these were two women who worked on a movie with him. They testified against him. One was the set dresser, and she said that like he would, every time she walked by, he would try to like pin her with his legs, like use them as pinchers, and like pull her towards him. That like he would try to get in like narrow corridors with her so that he could like grab
Rub up
onto
again.
her.
Ugh.
Yes. She said he constantly was like grabbing her hips, grabbing her ass, trying to grab her from the front, running his hands over her, like all this stuff, like grabbed her chest. So gross.
Awful.
Like, she said that like he would, try to grab her hand and like put it towards him and like, told her that he wanted to sexually assault her, like out loud, say those things. I don't understand people. The other woman was an assistant who worked on the set, and he did the same thing to her. He was constantly groping her. She said 3 separate times she had to run to get away from him.
Ugh.
It's so fucking nasty. Like, is it really that hard to just keep your hands to yourself, man?
Yeah.
And I know he's like 76 and people are probably like, he's an old man or whatever. No, fuck this.
Right. No. This is not okay.
Yeah. So even though like this trial has been going on and it's done and he's, got his suspended sentence and he's got to pay his fines or whatever, and these other trials are coming up, he's still working. He's like shooting a movie in Portugal. They're going to appeal the ruling. So these women aren't going to get their money anytime soon, or, they are feeling good that they even got what they got,
Mm-hmm.
but he's going to appeal it, and who knows what's going to happen. One of his agents, who's worked with them for decades, was in the documentary about him, and he said, "I know Gerard Depardieu. He is neither a rapist nor a predator. He's a monster, yes, but he's also a sacred monster. He's a monument."
What?
Like,
He's just a
making
bad
fun-
boy?
Yeah. Like, it's so people who make excuses for these
Mhm.
people, I want them to start paying. Like, I'm all, what can we like aiding and abetting or
Yeah.
something with these people? So again, these aren't the end of his legal woes. There are various sexual assault trials like in the works for him. But also on top of all of that, he's being investigated for money laundering and tax evasion, which is that's just the best stuff because that's the stuff that will actually stick. It's not a
Oh,
he
right.
said, she said
Right.
situation.
Right.
Right. This is how you get Al Capone.
Right. I was just going to
Like,
say Al Capone. Yeah.
this is how they'll get Trump eventually, with these sort of things if he doesn't first. Anyway, so he's going to trial for money laundering and tax evasion. He has been saying that he's like living in Belgium since 2013, but apparently that's not true and they can prove it. So
Is he in France?
he's
in
been
France.
He's in France. He's been living in France, but he's trying to pretend that he's not living in France. I'm like, dude, just move to Belgium then. Like, Belgium's great. Like, he's such a loser. But anyway, that's our creep, Gerard Depardieu.
Good job, Sonia. And what a gross creep he is. But yeah, there's been
Gross creep.
so many. There's been so many rumors about him, and he's just ugh.
We've been waiting for a trial to happen and a verdict so that we could, there was an end.
Right. That's what we like to do because people send us suggestions, and sometimes it's just like the rumors are just starting to come out. Until we can get some news outlets to back up our source, as a source for us, we can't just say it. I mean, and we've said this, especially when we had Russell Brand for years, people were reaching out to us about him and telling us stories, and we were like,
Dan Schneider was another one.
Then Dan Schneider was another one, and we would say, we want to talk about this, we can't until. Yeah, because we don't want to get sued. I mean, we're just a couple of little podcasters here in the States.
Yeah. Well, and we don't want to cover the creep too early when they still have more creeping they're going to do, which is how I blew it with the Elon Musk one.
Well,
because
look,
he's creeping it real every day, right?
Right.
So.
He gets worse and worse every day. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm bringing up I'm going to talk about something, but it's coming up my email. It says New York Daily News. Police hunting for stolen life-size Melania Trump statue.
Trump stole it. Come on. He's like, this is the only way I could be close to her.
Oh my God. All right.
Headlines now are unreal.
Every day is unreal.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's flip it around and let's talk about French women. And then what is more heroic than women that served in the French Resistance? So this is during World War II. And I found this great article. It's from Sarah Roller, and it's called History Hit, and I put a link in the show notes, so y'all can just, follow along if you want to, but I'm just going to read along here. Our first one is Marie Madeleine Fourcade, I don't know, one or the other. Born in Marseille and educated in Shanghai, Fourcade met a former French military intelligence officer, codenamed Navarre, in 1936, and was recruited by him in 1939 to work for a network of spies, later known as the Alliance. Navarre was arrested and imprisoned in 1941, leaving Fourcade to lead the movement. She did so successfully, managing to recruit agents who gained important military intelligence, which was subsequently transmitted to the British clandestinely. During this time, she spent 4 months on the run. She gave birth to her third child, leaving him hidden at a safe house during this time. Nothing stops her. In 1943, heading to London to work for British intelligence briefly, this secondment was forcibly extended by her control officers who only allowed her to return to France in July of 1944. So saying like she gave birth and then she was in Britain and they wouldn't let her go because they were afraid she was going to get killed. So
Right.
she didn't even know what was happening with her family. I mean, that must be terrifying. Following the end of the war, she helped take care of 3,000 resistance agents and survivors and chaired the Committee of Resistance Action from 1962 onwards. Despite her prominent role with the French resistance and leadership of the longest-running spy network, she was not decorated after the war or designated a resistance hero. She continued to maintain a relatively high profile in international politics and was involved in the trial of Klaus Barbie, the so-called Berthoud of Lyon, for war crimes in the 1980s.
Damn.
We have next Lucy Aubrac. She was a brilliant history teacher and committed supporter of communism. She and her husband were some of the first members of the French resistance, La Dernière Colonne, or better known as Liberation Sud. I hope I said that right. The group carried out acts of sabotage, distributed anti-German propaganda, and published an underground newspaper. Few other women had such prestigious roles in resistance groups or activities. She continued to teach history and perform a role as a dutiful mother and wife during this time. She could bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan,
and fight the resistance.
Fucking get some Nazis.
Stick it to the man.
Yes, there you go. Ooh. When her husband was arrested, she executed a daring scheme to break him and 15 other prisoners free from the Gestapo. In 1944, she became the first woman to sit in a parliamentary assembly when Charles de Gaulle himself created a consultative assembly. Her stories has been tainted by accusations from Klaus Barbie that her husband was an informer. But some believe it was her communist sympathies that led attacks on her character. She died in 2007 and was dubbed by President Sarkozy as a legend in the history of the resistance. Number 3 is an American, but she was in France. Her name was Josephine Baker. She left in the 1920s to be successful because America sucks. We can't have nice things here.
Nope.
She was a singer and an iconic entertainer of the Roaring Twenties. She moves to Paris. And at the outbreak of war in 1939, she was recruited by the Deuxième Bureau as an honorable correspondent, gathering intelligence, information, and contacts at parties and events she attended. Her work as an entertainer also provided her with an excuse for moving around a lot. So as the war progressed, she carried notes written on visible ink on her sheet music around Europe and North Africa, as well as housing supporters of the Free France movement and aiding them to get visas. She ended up in Morocco for her health, but she continued to carry messages, often pinned to her underwear, with information across to mainland Europe and to the resistance members. She also toured French, British, and American troops in North Africa to provide entertainment on top of the spying.
I'm feeling so lazy
I know. Following the end of the war, she also, I think she adopted a bunch of kids, too, on top of that. I think that was her. Following the end of the war, she was decorated with the Croix de Guerre and the Rosette de la Résistance, as well as the Chevalier of the Légion d'honneur by Charles de Gaulle. Her career continued to be successful, bolstered by her wartime historics. I mean, Jesus Christ. We're not done.
That should be a TV series.
I'm sure it's a TV movie. I mean,
I'm sure it is, but I want a TV series, and they can fictionalize a little bit more to it. I'm in.
Oh, you're so right. Okay, we have 2 more women. Rose Valland, she was a respected art historian. In 1932, she began working in the curatorial department at Jeux de Paume in Paris. In 1941, following the German occupation of France, the Jeux de Paume became a central storage and sorting depot for artworks looted by the Nazis. From assorted public and private collectors, over 20,000 works of art passed through the museum's walls. For the next 4 years, she kept notes what was brought to the museum and where it was headed. She spoke decent German, a fact she hid from the Nazis, and so was able to understand much more of the proceedings than she ever let on. She worked also allowed to pass on details of shipments of art so they would not be targeted by members of the resistance for sabotage or detonation. She included details of shipments of nearly 1,000 modernist paintings in Germany alone in 1944. Following the liberation of Paris, she became briefly, she was under suspicion, but was exonerated quickly. After months of working the monument's men, she finally turned over detailed notes on repositories of looted art. It's through her work that allowed over 60,000 pieces of art to be returned to France.
That's amazing.
She acted as a witness at the Nuremberg trials and worked with the French army and government to continue to bring art back to France. And our last, this is like, these women are exceptional.
These are amazing women.
Agnes de la Barre de Nanteuil, aged 17 when the war broke out. She joined the Red Cross in 1940 and later joined the Resistance, where she was known as Agent Claude. Having been a key member of the Scouts as a teenager, she took up a role as a Scout leader, which allowed her to travel from place to place on a bicycle with messages hidden in her handlebars, or to place landing lights for parachuters.
Oh my gosh.
In March 1944, she returned home to find the Gestapo waiting for her. One of the other members of the resistance had revealed her identity under torture. She was imprisoned and tortured for multiple times, but disclosed nothing. In August of 1944, she was packed into an old cattle car for deportation to Germany, where she was shot, either in an attack by British planes or a Nazi soldier. She died from those injuries a few days later. Before she passed away, she forgave the resistance worker who betrayed her.
Oh my God.
Right?
Better person than me.
A better person than me. And she was posthumously awarded the Resistance Medal by Charles de Gaulle in 1947.
Wow.
So those are some of our non-creeps today.
That's a fabulous list, Margo.
I mean, incredible.
That's a list of badass women.
Right?
Yeah. And I can't believe she forgave that person. I would haunt them forever.
And as a teenager.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I would haunt.
Yeah, same.
They wouldn't have a moment's peace.
Never. Never. I'll give them restless leg syndrome. I'll just I'll fuck them up.
Yep. I was just going to say, every time they go to sit down, I'll pull the chair out.
Yep. Well, if you like the sound of our voices, and by golly, don't you already by now, listening to us talking out with our dulcet tones and all that stuff, we co-host a show called Dorking Out, where we dork out about movies. Sonia, what are we going to be dorking out about? We just covered the 4 seasons, so we talked about the original movie, and then we talked about the series. Yes. What are we talking about next, Sonia?
Speaking of Nazis, we're going to talk about, I can't believe we haven't already covered, Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's only one of my all-time favorite movies. Spoilers, we really like it. We need a hero, so we're going to be talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark,
which will be fabulous. So if you have suggestions for creeps and non-creeps, all those places I mentioned at the top of the show, great places to reach us. Our email, once again, is whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com. If you'd like some stickers, send me your address. I will try to get that out to you. It's just been a rough couple of months, but we'll get it done. And Sonia, where can they find you?
You can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Blue Sky and Instagram and TikTok. All the places. What about you, my friend?
You can find me at brooklynfitchick.com. I'm at brooklynfitchick for Threads and Instagram. I'm at Brooklyn Margo for Blue Sky and TikTok. And I'm at my name, Margo Donahue, for YouTube. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this week. In the meantime, try to keep your chin up. Be kind. Be safe. Just don't be a creep.
Be a creep. Thank you for listening to us talk about creeps. You can follow us at What a Creep Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
But don't follow us too closely.
You can email us your creepy stories at whatacreeppodcast@gmail.com.
But please keep your dick pics to yourself.